today, or
Oh,
what's a struggle challenge?
we're
This meeting
um
is being recorded.
we're using a lot more LinkedIn for franchise sales.
Hmm.
And so and I had a marketing company that was utilizing it, and they were, picking out days and picking out times, and I always stay on LinkedIn just to stay connected with my colleagues. But now that I'm using it as an actual platform, it's a whole nother ball game. So I really wanted to gain some knowledge about this.
Okay, good. And Robin, you're an expert, so are you just here to cheer me on?
No, no, I can always brush up on LinkedIn, and you always have the best advice.
Oh,
So
thank you.
good to see you.
And Natalie, how about you? Are you using LinkedIn pretty regularly?
Not at all.
Not at all.
I'm there, but I've always considered myself business to person,
Yep.
and I've always thought of Lincoln as being business to business. So I don't really know how to make it profitable or uh, be a benefit to others on it.
Okay, fair enough. And Jan, how about you? You've been rocking the content world and using AI and doing all these cool things. So what are you hoping to get out of today, Jan?
I need to be on LinkedIn. I started a new role and I need to be able to connect with people, and I've just not been very good on LinkedIn. So I need to just be better. Hi,
Okay.
Natalie. How are you?
Oh, she froze.
Am I
And
frozen?
so Nancy, she is a LinkedIn guru as well, and I'm super glad that you're here. So thank you for joining. So any insights, excuse me, any insights or thoughts for the group?
I'm looking forward to not only hearing what you have, but sharing anything that I can offer.
Excellent. And Deborah, how about you?
Oh, jeez.
You had all this time to think, and now you're on the spot. So
It's
yeah.
just that, social media is like a four-letter word for me. But I have zero experience with LinkedIn. I set up an account once, and then I lost that email. I lost access to that email. I never did anything with it. And I think I did actually twice. And I couldn't get it. And then one day, oh my God, I got my account recovered. So woohoo! Oh no.
Yay. So now there's no excuse, right?
Exactly.
Well,
I
I'm gonna
can.
go. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Did someone just say
Nothing.
something?
Just
Yep,
a
okay.
beginner, keeping open minds.
All right, very good. Well, I've got slides that I want to go through today, and as promised, we're going to go through the 5 levers that drive the LinkedIn algorithm. And I've been doing LinkedIn training for more than a decade, and did a lot of this pre-COVID. And I would do for my Chamber of Commerce. I would do go into businesses, and it was a really integral part of our company. And then COVID happened and all that kind of fell by the wayside. And when we committed in January to make 2026 the year of LinkedIn for my company, because it is so radically different than it was a few years back. Robin and we did a women's conference that about half the women on the call were at about 3 weeks ago, and Robin and I were having some debrief after for a few days, and she left, and I woke up one morning, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to do LinkedIn workshops again, and we need to get all this back because it's so different than it was, and it'll be different 3 months from now, but let's capture what we can right now and make it work for you. So I'm gonna pull up my slides, share my screen. And and for those of you who know Evan, he's supposed to be coming on, so we may have a couple late folks. I'm gonna put you people down there. Okay, so so yep, so we're gonna work on those 5 levers today, and most of you know me, and Julia, just so almost everybody on the call are people that know me, which is really cool, and I'm so glad Julia's zooming in from France. So I'm so glad that you're here. And so I've owned a marketing company since 2013, and we have been doing all this LinkedIn stuff since before that. and I am located in Plymouth, Michigan. And like I mentioned, we have dedicated this year as a company to educating and empowering folks to not only feel comfortable on LinkedIn, but to get LinkedIn working for them instead of against them, which is what it does a lot of times if you don't understand the drivers and the pieces that need to be in place. And for those of you who haven't seen this yet, we have a resource that's our LinkedIn profiles and scorecard that takes you through the things that should be in a profile and the things that you can rate your profile. And you're welcome to grab that anytime. And I'll send all of the links out after. So, and if people want slides, I can send the slide deck out. So don't feel like you have to, take copious notes. And I'm fine if you want a screenshot or anything like that. So just diving in, the struggles that I hear over and over and over is, okay, I'm posting, but one of my posts might have 30 people that see it, and one might have 200, and one might have 3, and there's no consistency in the number of views that I'm getting, and that can be really frustrating, especially when you spend a lot of time on content, which is that I think is the biggest struggle for folks, is developing great content. And that used to be the number one driver for the algorithm, and it's not. So I can take a little pressure off for those of you who don't like developing content. When we get to the number one driver, then I'll give you some tips on that. But the algorithm is not random with your content. And so the way that it works is you put up a post and LinkedIn shows it to a microcosm of your LinkedIn community, the people with whom you're connected, and they see if people start to engage with it. And if they don't, then it goes into the mediocre funnel and fewer people see it. And then if people still don't really engage, then it just goes into the funnel of death. And it could be the most amazing post in the world, but if it isn't speaking to your audience and they're not engaging with it, it's going to go away. So it's a game. I tell people all the time, marketing is a game. It's not, and the rules change on a consistent basis. So it's you gotta keep up with it. So I'm really glad that you're all here, because I'm hoping that you can walk away with at least 1 or 2 tips that are going to help with getting your content to be seen more regularly. So then when you're thinking about what LinkedIn measures, they're measuring, are people engaging with your content? Are you engaging with their content? And that's a biggie. That's the number one driver. We're going to spend a lot of time on that at the end. And then are people staying put? So when they see your post, maybe they'll hit the like emoji or the happy face emoji. If they stop and take time to comment, that's helping you and them. And same thing for you with other folks. And then, are you interacting with other people? And then all of those things together on a consistent basis is what creates that momentum. And so that algorithm now is set up to expand your content when people stay active, including you, on LinkedIn. And it's just crazy to me how this has shifted. And for those, I know Robin's been a LinkedIn user for a long time, and honestly, a year ago, I would have said content. You need a good profile first, and then your content's got to be good. And now it's really, content is almost secondary to engaging with other folks' comments. And then when you think about why your posts might stall out, it's that lack of early engagement from other people. You don't respond. And that's another thing, if somebody engages with your content and you don't engage back, you get dinged for that, because LinkedIn wants their focus now is on conversation as opposed to strictly good content. And it used to be LinkedIn was a content platform for B2B, and now they're really focusing in on that community aspect. They want people to converse back and forth. They want it to feel like a community. And it's really gotten spammy. I mean, I could say a lot of stuff about that, but that's their focus right now, is trying to replicate some of that community feel that's going on in other parts of the world. And in my opinion, I work in the tech stuff all day long, and the more technologically advanced we get, the more disconnected we feel as people. So I think that's my opinion, that's part of the focus of LinkedIn right now, is trying to get us to feel connected, so we want to stay on the platform. And then we don't want those posts to go into that funnel of death. So I want to start in with these 5 levers, and I put them in reverse order. So they're all important, but we're going to go from least important to most important and increase our time on each one as we go through. So that first one is dwell time. How long are people staying on a post? And the algorithm measures different behaviors. So it's, do they stop the scroll? If it's a video, do they click play? Or if it's a video with captions, are they staying long enough to read the captions? And are they pausing? Are they liking, commenting, engaging? And anything that keeps them there longer is going to improve that individual post's visibility in the universe. So again, it's all a game. And when you think about, when we get into creating good content, I'll talk a little bit more about, images and videos and things like that. But the goal is to get them to stop scroll and then to do something while they're there. So just, a couple thoughts on that. So consistency is much, much, much more important than quantity. And so think of a cadence that you can maintain, right? And, people say, well, what's the optimal? Should we be posting 5 times a week? Should we be posting 3 times a week? Should we be posting, 8 times a week? What can you do on a consistent basis? So the 2 behaviors that you want to get into a regular rhythm doing, number 1 is posting. And if for you that means once a week, then pick that day, put it on your calendar and do it. And there are so many tools out there now where you could sit down, and if you're going to do 1 post a week, you could sit down, get your entire quarter done and scheduled in a scheduling tool in probably an hour, and you're set. And in an ideal world, I would recommend posting 2 to 3 times a week. However, if you can only do once a week, then do once a week and do it well. So that cadence is consistent content, and then it's going to be consistent commenting. And we're going to talk about that later, but those 2 things will transform your LinkedIn. Okay. So then, the 4th lever, so 5th was dwell time. The 4th lever is cadence beats chaos. And so that stop start activity that I was just talking about, if you don't get into that consistent rhythm, the algorithm is not going to reward you. They reward the steady eddies of the world. And even if it's a slower pace than other folks, that's okay. And that consistency, in addition to having the LinkedIn favor you and your content and the things that you do, it's going to increase your visibility because more people will see your posts, and they'll see that you're showing up on a regular basis. So that cadence that you can sustain, twice a week consistently is better than 5 times when you get off this call and think, oh my gosh, I'm going to post 5 times a week, and you do it once and then you don't do anything for 3 months. And when you figure out what that cadence is, like I said, put it into your calendar and honor that time, and just make sure that you're showing up on a consistent basis. Okay, so now these next 3, so the dwell time and the consistency helps dwell time. So they all kind of tie together, but these next 3 are really the 3 that we're going to spend the chunk of our time on today. And I'm leaving a lot of time at the end for questions. And also, if we're going through something, feel free to interrupt me. Because sometimes I know for me, if I'm in the moment, I'll remember the question, but then 10 minutes from now, I may not. So just unmute and ask away. So that 3rd lever is content. And when we think about content, typically we think about the things we want to tell people, the things we want them to learn or to know or to understand as it relates to us and our business. And that's great. However, one of the most powerful lenses that you can adapt into your marketing is, if this post, email, image, infographic was coming at me, would it be interesting to me as an individual, as a person in the world? And we're really good. We all are so smart at what we, at our core, what we do, the things we know. We've accomplished amazing things. This is a call of amazing women. We're all women, power women, badass women, right? And so think about what is interesting to you. What are the things about what you do that are going to help other people? And that might be solving a pain point, or talking on an emotional level with somebody. The things, so what are the things that make you stop the scroll? Replicate that for your audience in a way that's going to make them stop the scroll. Easier said than done, and it's a trial and error thing. But what LinkedIn will do is you're going to put a post up, and immediately it's going to give it to us, this sample group of people. And if those people don't engage, that's where you start to go into that funnel of death with that content. So you want to think about, for my people, the people that you want to be engaging with you, the people that you want to be on their radar, what are those things? I'm getting feedback on my end. Is anybody else hearing that? Okay, good. It's me, it's feedback of me talking. So, you want to make sure that the right people are going to see that content. If the wrong people see it, it's going to stall. So you can be specific about who that content's for, right? What are their problems, their challenges, their worries, the stuff that keeps them up at night. And then when you talk about it, I often recommend, for a lot of us, speaking in first person, the I, the we, instead of talking at people. I see a lot of business owners who struggle with bop, 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 bop. Well, here's how to fix it, as opposed to, oh my gosh, I woke up today and the problem, I feel like a LinkedIn loser. So I'm going to, and how do I get better at LinkedIn, and da, 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 da. So I'm experimenting with this, that, and the other thing. And you can be very real and honest and candid. And those are the kinds of posts that people tend to engage with, because it speaks to them. It's relatable. It's not someone talking at them. And I share this a lot whenever I'm teaching or presenting. Several years ago, I saw a couple of studies that said we as humans make 35,000 decisions a day. And a year or so ago, I asked my best friend, ChatGPT, has that number increased with the integration of AI in our lives, because we can solve things so much faster? And it said no, because humans are not capable of making more than 35,000 decisions a day. So we are at capacity as humans. So when you think about is something going to catch my interest enough to stop the scroll, it's got to be really good, and it's got to be something that immediately resonates with me or you or your audience, because if it doesn't, you're going to just keep going, because that's one decision you don't have to make. I don't have to stop and read this because it doesn't relate to me. So you really want to think about that relatable content. And I can do an 8-hour thing on content. And I won't bore you with that today, but I do have the simple post formula. And this is nothing that's proprietary to me, but this is a simple formula that works. So when you think about the first thing that people see, it's often with a post, a video, or an image. And there are posts without images. And for a while, LinkedIn was rewarding content that didn't have images. And well, it's all a whole thing. If you hate images, you don't have to do them, but they do help catch somebody's eye. So the image or video is probably the first thing that's going to grab someone's attention. And then the very first line of your post is the hook. So a hook, like I just used one a couple minutes ago, I feel like a LinkedIn loser today. Everyone, the people that struggle with LinkedIn are going to stop and say, oh my gosh, what? I feel that way sometimes. So think about, and it doesn't have to be something that's startling or something that's controversial. It's just something that is going to have them stop and go, oh my gosh, is this worth my time? And that hook is something that is going to resonate typically on an emotional level with people. it's a problem, it's a challenge, it's a celebration, it's something that people are going to be able to say, oh my gosh, I've had that experience, or I felt that way too, or gosh, what an amazing thing. And then that next piece is the context. So that's you're setting it up, you've got your hook, which grabs them, and then you're going to set up really quickly, like a sentence or a phrase. Why does this matter? And you don't want 3 paragraphs that are going to talk about why it matters. You want a quick sentence or phrase. And then you're going to share that insight. And then you might give an example or tell a story, expand on it or not. And then, then you can do a conversation prompt, and we're going to talk about conversation prompts in a few minutes, but, get your audience if it's appropriate. Now it's kind of dumb if you've got a post that, is a client testimonial. How do you feel about my client testimonial? Of course, they're not going to engage with that, right? They might congratulate you, but if it's appropriate, ask a question, encourage conversation. What do you think about this? What have you seen working? What isn't working? Because when people engage with your content, more people see it. And so if you set it up for folks to make it easy for them to engage with your content, they're more apt to do that. And then the spacing and readability piece of it, this is really important because I think all of us on this call at least went to school when computers didn't exist and we had to write our own paragraphs, and you start with your opening sentence, and then it's kind of like this, right? You've got your opening sentence, kind of the hook, and then you've got the content in the middle, and then you've got your closing sentence, and then everything you write is then, opening paragraph, middle paragraphs, closing paragraph. We were taught to write big in a lot of words, and we've got a 6-second attention span now, so people scan. So something that might have been a 2 or 3 sentence paragraph, even 2 years ago on social media, it's 1 sentence or shorter phrases. And so what used to be a paragraph is now a line, skip, bullet, 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 skip, because people are skimming and scanning, and the natural breaks that you put into your content are going to help them do that and do it well, because people don't read. They'll skim the first, they'll skim the last, and they'll miss everything in the middle, which is usually the good stuff. So any questions? I want to stop here on content. Any content questions? And if you're struggling with what do I post, we do a simple formula. Well, actually, it's the rule of life. It's the 80-20 rule, right? 80% of what you post online or email, anything you do, right? 80-20. But for social, 80% of what you put into the universe should not be a marketing pitch for you. It should be for your audience. And so if you're posting twice a week, then once or twice a month, one of your posts is going to be something about you, your business. Now, that's not to say that you can't be an expert on those other posts, right? So if you've got, I do one post, okay, we're launching a new course this week and blah, 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 blah. Great, that's a sales pitch. So then if my course is about LinkedIn, I can say, people are really struggling with X. And here's how, oh, someone's coming in here. Here's how we would, address that question. And so you can still be an expert in your space, but you want to make sure that you're not always talking about having people buy for me, because as a consumer, I sit at my desk 3 times a day, and all of those pitches that come into my email that we can, generate 100 leads a month, and we can loan you $500,000, and so-and-so wants to buy your company. I click spam, spam, spam. I don't know you. You have not built any credibility with me. So why would I give my hard-earned time and money over? So think about, LinkedIn, all social platforms are social first. So they're not sales platforms. So that's really important too, is figuring out the cadence of how can you position your content in a way that, yes, it's going to promote your business, but more importantly, it's going to promote you as the expert in your business. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay. All
Do
right.
you have a couple
Yep.
of questions, Heather, about
Yep.
content?
Yep.
About tagging people, is that a suggestion? Does that help to tag people? You're nodding yes. The other thing is about links. I've had lots of different understandings as to whether to include a link within the content.
Yeah. Great questions. And I will say yes sometimes and no sometimes. So tagging people, which is when you do the @ and you start typing their name, and I'll show you that in a few minutes because I've got that in there. So so Robin and I, for example, we've got a workshop coming up on Cinco de Mayo, and when we start promoting that, when I put it on my LinkedIn, I'll tag Robin, and then she'll get a notification, and her people will see that, oh, and then she'll do the same for me. So tagging is a way to get your content in front of more people and to help other people. That being said, the posts that list 37 people every time you put a post up and it's tagging 37 people, that can be annoying. So tagging is good and it does elevate content. Just want to be mindful of who you tag and how frequently you tag, especially a particular person. So those are all, if clients, that's a great, clients are an easy tag, right? You know, if they're okay with you talking about them, you know, oh my gosh, we had this amazing meeting with Camp Mirage this week, and I was with Jill and Kara, and I would tag them both and whatever. So that's good. And then the putting links in, for quite a while, LinkedIn was the algorithm was very much against you putting links in your posts. And part of the pushback with that was companies like Forbes, who spends a lot of money advertising on LinkedIn, couldn't put a link into their you know, if they put a link in any of their posts, then people would not, or then the post wouldn't get as much traction. So sorry, just yep, okay, there's a couple chats going on. So there was some serious pushback. LinkedIn was kind of shooting themselves in the foot because their money machines weren't able to promote any of their own stuff, because LinkedIn wanted people to stay on LinkedIn, not to click a link and go somewhere else. So I was doing stats for one of my clients yesterday, and one of their top performing posts actually linked back to their website, which was really surprising to me. So I would say play with it. You can put it, you know, see how your engagement rates look when you put a link in your post. You can also put a link in the comments, and LinkedIn can measure that too. So there's not a great answer one way or the other for that. So it's and it depends. Sometimes it doesn't matter as much, and sometimes it matters more. So it's all an algorithm thing. Okay. All right. So our lever 2 is the second most important thing. Oh, Deborah, do you have a question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said 6-second attention span. Are you saying that you have to, and you're talking about the simple post formula, all of that in 6 seconds?
No, well, you want, so we have a 6-second attention span. So you want to grab their attention quickly, right? So if they have to dig through your post to figure out what it's about, they're not going to do that. So that's why that first sentence is so important, or that image is so important, something
Okay.
that's going to make them stop.
Okay.
And then you've got more time. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So number 2, conversations. So conversations are a back and forth. And this is the second highest lever for the LinkedIn algorithm right now, which I find so interesting. It's above content. So my dog just walked in. Sorry if you saw her, her doggy doors in my office. So a conversation, and they're talking not about conversations where you're direct messaging. They're talking about conversations on people's posts. So a comment is a comment, and that's our number one driver. We're going to talk about that at the end. But then a conversation builds on that. So there's some back and forth, there's some momentum. It's a conversation thread that eventually, hopefully, would go offline into a real conversation with somebody. So that conversation thing, and I'm terrible at this because I'm so busy during the day and I'm just heads down and getting all my stuff done. And then I might go into LinkedIn. I'm like, oh crap, I haven't been in there for a couple days. And somebody made a comment 3 days ago. And then I'm going to respond to it. Well, it's a bad look on me that I wasn't in there on a regular basis. So that's part of my commitment this year is hitting LinkedIn at least 3 times a week to monitor that. And when I respond to somebody's comment, it's really nice that they made a comment, right? So then when I respond, it's helping me. And so it's making that algorithm churn a little bit harder on my behalf. So it's thanking them and it's helping me. So you want to respond to every meaningful comment. And I want to differentiate between a comment and a like or a happy emoji or the heart, all the emojis. The emojis are easy to click and that's fine. But the commenting, and again, we're going to spend quite a bit of time on this and that's up next. That is really an important piece. So it takes longer to put a thoughtful comment in there. But then, so when you're thinking about, so I'm jumping ahead. So for the conversation piece of this, when you respond to a comment, you can ask a follow-up question. You can, just talk about insights, things like that. And so I put a slide together of some conversation starters. And if you want to screenshot this, just so you don't have to sit there and go, okay, so how should I respond to a comment? So how have you been handling this? Or how have you seen this play out? Or what's been your experience? Or do you agree or disagree with what I said? Or what would you add to this? So there are lots of ways to continue the conversations from a comment. And for me, this is more of a practice and learned skill. Because I'm really good at commenting, but it's that responding to that just takes that extra couple of steps to do it, and intention, right? Because I don't necessarily, I look when a post goes up, I look maybe a couple hours later. If nobody's responded or commented, I might respond to 1 or 2, but then a day later, I'm on to the next. And that post continues to live in the metaverse until the engagement gets to a point where it drops off and fades away. That doesn't mean that people have stopped commenting and stopped engaging. And you want to maintain that because the longer that continues, I'm gonna mute somebody here. Hang on.
It's Anna Janet.
Okay, there we go. Okay. Whoops. Did I get it? I think so. Okay. So the more that you can continue the conversation on an individual post, the longer that post is going to live. So it really, again, I said this at the beginning, all of this is a game and you need to learn the rules of the game, and the rules will change. 3 months from now, it may be very different than it is today, but right now, these are the things that matter the most. All right, so then we're going to move on to the most important lever, which in my opinion is harder than creating good content, and that is meaningful comments. Because the way that this is set up now, it takes an inordinate amount of time and effort to comment on people's posts unless you have a relatively small LinkedIn community. I have 11,000 LinkedIn connections and followers. So my news feed every day is a mishmash of a bunch of people that I don't know and probably am never going to know. And I don't really care what they have to say for the most part, because it's a lot of noise and great. That being said, there are people that are part of my collaborators and friends circle, folks who are clients, folks who are I would like to get on their radar, some influencers that I follow that every now and then I'd like to throw something at them. Who knows where that may lead in the world? And the only way to do that, or up until very recently, the only way to do that is basically you'd have a spreadsheet, you'd have their names, you'd have the dates, you'd have to go into LinkedIn, you'd pull up their profile, you'd go down to their posts, you'd pull up their posts, and then it would give you their feed of posts, and then you'd look at the posts and decide, okay, do I want to comment on this one or that one? And then you'd either have to sit there and write something thoughtful and not great post, because that's not going to help anybody and it looks dumb in this world of AI. Or you might scrape that post, throw it into ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude and say, okay, give me a thoughtful, meaningful comment. Then you'd take that, you'd edit it, you'd put it back in, you'd put it up onto their newsfeed, and then you'd find the next person. It takes a lot of time and effort. So that being said, it is the number one heads above everything else driver right now of how many people are going to see your content. And I was working with a group. It was a state photography conference a couple of weeks ago, and somebody said, well, if I'm commenting on other people's stuff, I feel like, and I'm doing it because it's helping me, I feel like that's sort of selfish. And maybe. But that being said, when you comment on somebody else's content, it's helping you and it's helping them, because it's getting their content to be seen by more people. Somebody just chimed in here. There we go. Okay. So it's a win-win. So, you know, so that, and the thoughtful part of it is really important, because LinkedIn, the algorithm measures the depth of your commenting. And it's so crazy to me that this is where we are in the world, right? You can't just say, oh my gosh, that was a great post, and really mean it from the bottom of your heart. You've got to say why, and you've got to explain the whole thing behind it. And it's a game. So when you're thinking about those meaningful comments, here are some ideas on how to do that. You can add your perspective. You can add an experience, ask a question, build out an idea, start a conversation. And I've got some comment starters here. So, you know, and again, come up with your own words, but you can keep a little list of things as a cheat sheet, and just have them at the ready so that it's easy for you to pick. And the goal with comments is 5 thoughtful comments a day on other people's posts. And when you think about that from a who are the people? So I've got it set up right now where I've got clients that I comment on every few days. I've got some friends and collaborators that I comment on every day. I've got some friends and collaborators that I comment on once a week. I'm building out my commenting lists, because I've got a tool that's helping me do this that I'm going to show you guys, because it's just freaking amazing. But it's figuring out who are the people, why are those the people that you want to engage with, and what do you hope will happen with that, and being mindful of the types of things you say. If your hope is they might become a client, you might comment a little bit differently, more of a thought leader, that type of a thing. Than if I'm commenting on, you know, Robin is one of my weeklies. So if I'm commenting on Robin's post, she's a dear friend of mine, and I can take it a little bit more personally, you know, stories that make a little bit more sense. Whereas somebody who doesn't know me, I would frame it a little bit differently. So really think about those comments from a perspective of, you know, how can I add value to this post? And knowing that when you add value to that post, you're helping yourself as well as that person. So I want to show you really quickly our new tool, because I'm super excited. We're launching this tomorrow, and it's just gold. So I've got to come out of my slide deck here. I want to just show you how this works really quick. So this is my friend Christine, And this is, so I searched for her. This is the old way of commenting, right? I'd go to her profile, I'd scroll down, I would find her content, and I would do show all posts. And this is one that she shared. Let's see. Okay, so here's a post. Okay, this is kind of interesting. Normally I would click comment and I would either scrape the post, put it into ChatGPT, say, help me write a thoughtful comment, edit, come back over here, drop it in here and post. What I can do now is, you see this little thing right here? So watch this. I'm gonna refresh my screen. And now there's this green suggest button. I'm gonna click that. This is so cool, you guys. I'm just dying with this. We've been trying to launch this for the last month, and we've had payment issues. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is killing me. But it takes her post, any comments on her post, and then it looks at my LinkedIn profile, figures out my tone, my vibe, how I write, how I talk, and it gives me 7 comment suggestions. One is a support comment, one's an expander, an idea expander, one is more professional, one is a summary of the post, one's motivational, one's funny, and one's more experience. And I trend more toward the motivational or funny. And I like the funny ones because I'm kind of quirky. So I can go in here and edit this. I can also click post comment. It'll put it here. And then I can do my edits right here, just like a regular LinkedIn. So I would go in and I would tag her by putting the @ sign. So now her name is bolded. And so she'll get a notification that I commented on this. And then I'm going to read this, make sure it looks good. There's nothing in here that looks too AI-ish. Yep. And I like the rest of it. So I'm going to click comment. And then I'm caught up on my lists of people right now. But what would happen is, if I had 4 people that I was due to comment on today, there'd be a little button right here that would say, okay, Christine's done. Next up is Sherry. And I would click the button and it would take me to Sherry's LinkedIn profile and post feed. And I would go through the same process. So this, I was telling folks the other day that the commenting, we do content for a living, right? And the commenting is more important than content right now. So I am pushing people toward anything that's going to give you what you need to comment. I'm going to go back to my screen here. Oh, right there. That's what I want. Okay. So it's just amazing. So think about that commenting piece of it. We're going to put this to the public for $79 a month, which I think is a steal. It's just so brilliant. But anybody this week, we're going to let the first 100 people have it for $39 a month for a year, because I just think it's that powerful. Okay, so I am coming to the end of this. I want to save time for questions, but I'm encouraging you to take an action step, which is pick one of those 5 levers, either dwell time, consistency, audience, conversations, or comments. Pick one that you're going to improve this week, and then figure out how you can put that into your world consistently. And then once you get that into a regular pattern and habit, add the next. And once that is part of your regular habit and flow, add the next. I would, because like we said, that consistency is that wins over an exciting one day of, I'm going to do everything today, and then tomorrow it all falls off because it's just too much to integrate all at once. And if you're able to do this, the consistency made easy thing, I think the magic formula right now is 3 posts a week and 5 comments a day. And if you can do that and keep up with other people, the conversations when someone comments on yours, even if you can do that a couple times a week, I think that's a really good cadence for most folks. And we, for years, have done 5 posts a week for clients, and we've got our 5 post a week clients. We're still doing that, but everybody who's coming in now, we're doing 3 posts a week and this commenting tool because it's such an important part of what is going to get your stuff seen. So real quick, for those of you who are local, I used to do 2-hour-long LinkedIn workshops, and I'm now at 6 hours. So I'm doing a series of workshops in Plymouth, Michigan, over the course of the next several months. The first one is April 14th, and I had the first person who signed up for all 4. And so she gets to pick the dates of the other 3. But if you want to work on your profile and creating that content rhythm, that's what we're going to do on April 14th from 8:30 to 10 a.m. So just know that's there. They're $79 a piece, or if you want to do all 4, it's $249. And again, I'll send all the links out after, but we're going to meet at, the Plymouth Arts Council, which has been all redone. It is spectacular in there. It's like a little baby art gallery. So we're going to be there. All right. So it is now your turn. I'm going to take the screen share off and throw your questions at me. Why didn't this go away? There it is. Okay.
Heather, I have 2 questions.
Yeah.
What happens, because like if we're posting, so we our business is on LinkedIn, but I have a personal LinkedIn page. So what happens if I share that business post and I repost it with a comment and repost it? Is that a good thing? Is that not a good thing? Is it like, how does that affect the initial post that was done on the business page?
So my suggestion for that, Jill, is post it on the business page and share it right away, because that's going to help the algorithm with the business page.
That's
right?
what I do.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So the sooner the engagement starts, the better it's gonna go. And I would tag Kara in posts, or tag, some of the other folks that you can, not all the time, but that's going to help as well. And that was a great point Nancy brought up earlier.
So I have been trying to make a schedule to be able to have regular posts. So this was good to be able to cover this today. What is should these posts be, you're saying 3, I'm doing 4 to 5, but should they be done on weekdays, or how do weekends affect a schedule? Is that a good thing? Is that a bad? Because sometimes people don't have time to look at their LinkedIn. So like on the weekend, I'll just go through LinkedIn to see if there's anything new that like I've missed that I want to keep an eye on. So days of the week and certain times, like, how does that play into put in place?
So I'm going to say to test it, because LinkedIn finally brought back stats for personal profiles. They had it years ago. They took it away, which was so dumb, because they're back. So I would look and see, try posting different times of the day, different days of the week. Your audience, because you're looking for folks who would potentially transition out of a 9-to-5 job, they may be looking for other things on the weekends, or whether sitting at a kid's sporting event at night, as opposed to, or not, right? So I play around with the days, the times, and see where it looks like you're getting the most engagement.
And are hashtags still a thing too? Like hashtags are for Facebook, but like, how does that work with, you're saying tag someone by saying @ but like, that is not my wheelhouse. And
Nancy's vomiting right now about hashtags. We all put them in because
I don't
tell us we're supposed to, but nobody on LinkedIn uses them.
Got it. I want to know. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's all my questions.
Okay, Deborah.
Okay, so I'm so sorry. I'm coming in total novice. Facebook's got its thing. I think Instagram is more like pictures and video, maybe. And then LinkedIn. What is the thing about LinkedIn? Like, what was it for? What's it doing?
Yeah, like why do we bother, right? So originally it was more of a job finder kind of a thing.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, and that was old school. That was old right at the beginning, and profiles were written like resumes, and it's not that anymore. So this it is alignable-esque, but less focused on the relationship piece of it, which is why I think they're putting so much emphasis on this commenting and conversation thing. It's still the leading platform for thoughtful business content and engagement. So I think it's probably got another good 2 or 3 years, and there may be something that replaces it, or it may reinvent itself, who knows, but right now it is still the leading place for that. So
Leading place for what?
business content and business connecting.
Like, I'm a coach, so what would that look like for me? I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, for you. So Deborah, so for you, you've got people in the world. I'm going to move you up here because then I don't have to look down. Oh, I can't move you. Okay. So think about all the people in the world who are professionals who, and I'm going to tap into the ADD side of it, right? Who have ADD and they're out there doing their jobs, whether they know it or not that they have ADD, right? They're living their lives. And so in a space like LinkedIn, I don't know that you would necessarily have to change the types of conversations you have, but I think you would attract folks who resonate with the things that you say. So for you, it's less about, going out and finding, a commercial landscaping company. You're finding people, and people are on LinkedIn. So it's just a different place. I think it's probably your secondary, where Facebook's probably the first.
Okay.
That would be my opinion.
Thanks.
Nancy.
Question in regards to the best tool for scheduling your posts on LinkedIn. What do you recommend? And before you answer that, I do want to give a great endorsement for your tool, even though I haven't used it, because I know how valuable that is.
Thank you. And Nancy and I chatted, probably 6 weeks ago, and I was so excited then to get this tool, and it's just taken forever to get it. So we're finally there. I'm so excited. So
congrats.
Thank you. So there are a lot of scheduling tools out there. We've used a lot over the years. I had somebody say to me, I was doing a LinkedIn training or an AI training at our chamber, and she said, I'm so paralyzed because I don't know what to pick. I'm afraid I'm going to pick something that's the wrong choice for anything I do. My advice is find something you like and use it. We use a tool called Publer, and I'll put the link in the follow-up email to everybody, but Publer, the things I really like about it, they're very forward facing with the changes and the advances that they put in. They are super reasonably priced. So for most folks, a free Publer account will be all that you need. We're posting to 50 to 60 accounts a day, and we've got 7 users, on my team that are in there. And for companies we've used in the past for scheduling, that would have been a $300 or $400 monthly service fee for me. We pay $80 a month. I love Publer. So Nancy, do you have one that you love?
No, that's why I genuinely was asking.
Yeah. So I love them. Their customer service is great. I think they're out of either Australia, New Zealand, somewhere over there, but we tried a lot, and we've been with them now, probably 7 years, and I have nothing but good things to say.
I will share a quick little tip that I have found helpful for commenting. And that is the people that I truly want to comment on their material, I go to their profile and I ring their bell, and there's 2 bells you can ring. One is you see some of their content. The other is you see all their content. I put all their content, and then I go to my notifications, and once a day, there it is. I get notified of their content.
That's perfect. That's a much easier way to do it than having to pull them all up.
A spread list or whatever. So anyway, just
100%.
a hint.
Thank you for that tip. Yes. Jan.
Okay, so first of all, Heather, thank you so much. This is something that first of all, I can tell you, be honest, I'll be transparent. My goal for the new year was to improve my LinkedIn. Here I am 3 months later, and I haven't done it yet.
You got 9 months to go, girl. You
I
are
got 9 months to go.
fine.
Okay, so I am one of those people who go on LinkedIn, and then probably about a month later or 2 months later, I go back again, and I've got all these messages that I should have responded to that might have been 2 months old.
Yeah.
But here, and that was literally true. Yesterday, I did have a message from 2 months old on a podcast I'm supposed to be on that I had totally missed the message for. But
Oh,
here's my question, and that's why I'm talking about messages. How do messages, because I get a ton of messages every single day, how do
Yeah.
they factor into this whole situation
they don't factor into the algorithm at all.
at all? Okay.
At all, as
Okay.
far as I know. That being said, and a lot of the crap that comes in now, LinkedIn is so adamant about you not connecting or not reaching out to people that you don't know, yet they charge you $1 bazillion for Sales Navigator and all these tools that help you meet strangers. And now they're letting you spam all the strangers in the universe with you can pay to have the direct messages and all this stuff, just like email, right? So my goal with LinkedIn messaging is I go in a couple times a week and clean it out and archive anything I've archived the crap, and then and I disconnect with the people that are sending me crap. And then I end up doing the responding. And then if you can just put it in your calendar 15 minutes twice a week or once a week.
Because
Yeah.
that takes a lot of time. The messages take
Yes.
time.
Julia,
Put a
thank you
tool
for
in
doing
the chat which can help with messaging. And you can get a 30-day trial. And I like this tool because it shows a full screen picture of the threads and the messages. And it also tells you the dates, and you can then schedule a time so that it reminds you to respond. Anyway, try that tool. It might help.
That's
Thank you
great.
so much.
Yep. And I'm going to pull that one too. I just opened it and I'll put that in the chat as well. Or I mean in the follow-up as well. So that everybody's got access to that.
I have
Yeah.
another request for all of, I'm assuming some of the people on this call are probably like me, trying to improve their LinkedIn. So would we mind sharing our names so that we could connect with each other on LinkedIn and we can kind of help each other?
That's a great idea.
You can put it in your email
Yeah,
and send it
yeah.
out.
Jan, would it be helpful if my goal is to do one of these webinars a month,
Sure.
this year, right? So I'm wondering if it would be helpful to have like not a study group, but like a
Yeah,
Q&A once 30-minute Q&A. Would that help?
I think it would be very helpful. And I
Okay.
think for the things that we're coming here for, it could build that activity and, be an accountability and a support group. Here I go. Okay, flip the script, whatever.
Would anyone have an objection if I posted something about Heather's program today and tagged each of you?
I don't.
That'd be
Because,
awesome.
I mean, Heather, this was a marvelous event. I don't know if you're planning to do it again, but this was excellent.
Thank you. And my goal over this year is to hit the things that people struggle with the most. So I wanted to do the 5 levers, because that commenting thing, if I didn't know that was the number one LinkedIn driver right now, I wouldn't know, right? Because it's always been content, always been content, always been content. And so yeah, I think that's great. So what would be a good topic for next month? I'll just ask you. So Anjana, I'm seeing your things come through. So thank you for chiming in here in the chat. So what's the next biggest, well, I don't know if this was a struggle for you guys or not, but what would be a good topic for next month?
You mentioned something about I don't know, it was an Excel spreadsheet or something that you keep track of people you want to contact at a certain time. That's certainly beyond my grasp.
Well, I don't have to do that anymore with this commenting tool because, oh, that was the other thing about it. I didn't even show you guys this part. Oh, hold on, hold on. Oh my gosh, this is the best part of all of it. Right here, I've got lists of people that this is the frequency of when I, every day I'm going to get a message that I need to comment on Libby, or when I go into LinkedIn, it'll pop up, oh, time to comment on Libby, time to comment on Robin. And if every few days, oh, time to comment on Leslie. So I'm building this. Literally, I just got this finally hooked up last week, so I haven't built all my lists, but I've got a collaborators list. I've got a client list. So every time it keeps track for me, Natalie. This is the gold of it. You don't have to search, and it tells you who you're due to comment on. So no more spreadsheet.
So
So-
is that part of the free program?
There is a free version of this. This is the one. We're retailing it for $79 a month, but I'm doing it $39 a month for the first 100 people for a year because it's spectacular. It's spectacular.
I will be in that 100.
Okay. All right. I'll make sure I share the link. Yeah, I didn't even show you guys that part. It's
Yeah.
What about how to build your LinkedIn list as
Yes.
a topic?
Yep, that's a great one. Okay. Yeah, we can let's work on people next time. And then how part of it too is then, yeah, you've got the list, but as we all know, LinkedIn is not a sales platform. It's a people platform. And so how do you then transition from commenting and conversing online into, number one, how do you find them? Number two, how do you start to build that trust? And number three, how do you then convert that into an offline conversation that might get legs? Does that sound like a good topic for next time?
It does.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd also like to know how every time I go in LinkedIn, I've got all of these requests to connect. So if you could talk about that also,
Yeah.
how do you treat those? I mean, right now I accept everybody. So I've probably got about 2,000 people in my LinkedIn. I have no idea who they are, but maybe that's part of that. I think that's a great idea to talk about the actual people.
Yep. And one of the most freeing things to me is if you don't accept someone's connection request or you reject it, they don't get a message that says that. It just sits out there and eventually they'll clear it out. But so yeah, I think that's great, Jan, because I could go on all day about that because I
Okay,
can
let's talk
tell
about that
most of the
next time,
time
too.
the ones
Yeah.
I'm going to reject. So okay. Yeah, and Nancy, you're going to have a lot to add to that one too. So come prepared to dive in, and yeah, because that's going to be that'll be a really good one, you guys. Okay. All right. Any other questions? All right.
Well, I'm glad it's not like Facebook because, of course, on my profile, I'm listed as a widow. So I get all these men that want to be my friend, and they're all the age of my son.
That's because you look so good, Natalie. That's like that.
That's right. You're the sugar mama, Natalie.
I'm telling you.
Fortunately, LinkedIn is not as heavy
Social.
that way romantically.
Yeah.
But Facebook definitely, I don't even put myself as widowed and I get hit on.
I don't get hit on anymore, so must be people know something. You guys
Yeah,
are
well, what can we tell you?
right. Okay, Deborah.
Yeah, I was just wondering, so my business, and I haven't done any social media, and it's a bit overwhelming for me. And I'm just wondering, I mean, because do you think LinkedIn is important enough for me to start there? I mean, I heard you say Facebook would be highest for me. I mean,
If
but
I were you, if
the-
you were going to pick one, I would pick Facebook, and here's why. Because the work that you do is high. It's a highly personal nature, and yes, relevant on LinkedIn. However, I think Facebook, the atmosphere tends to be a little bit more candid conversations about life, and I think that the work you do is a natural flow. Not that it wouldn't be in LinkedIn, but if you're going to pick one, I think I'd start there.
And less competition on Facebook than LinkedIn.
Yeah, and LinkedIn groups blow chunks. They're terrible. They used to be really good, and then when Microsoft bought them, whole thing. But so I would find maybe a Facebook group or two of folks who struggle with ADHD or folks who struggle with some of the things that you can help them with, and start. You don't even have to post all the time. Just start being part of those conversations, and that will get you in front of a more focused audience.
What, how do I find, like, the levers for Facebook?
Yeah, Facebook doesn't publish their algorithm or part of their algorithm. So every now and then, like, right, video trending, and so every now and then something will kind of come out, but LinkedIn physically publishes a significant portion of their algorithm, and every time they update it, they republish. So it's a little different. But you know what? You and I should just grab a glass of wine sometime with a computer. Let's do it.
That would be so
Okay.
fun. Okay.
All right. Well, I want to honor everybody's time. Thank you so much for zooming in, and I'll get the next one set up here, and we'll just keep this conversation going. Okay.
Thanks, Heather.
Thank you
All
so
right, thank
much.
you.
Great
Bye.
job.
Have a good day,
Great
everyone.
stuff.